What's up, guys? It's your boy Rich with Perrelet Turbine EVO. And this video is more going to be a conversation talking about Perrelet and why this is a brand that we actually need to really pay attention to more than it is just a review of the watch. Perrelet is a legitimate Swiss brand that has been around since 1777. And when I say a legitimate Swiss brand, a lot of brands have been affected and hurt by, for example, the quartz crisis, and then they go dormant, right? And then someone picks up the brand or resurrects the brand using the same brand name. Not the case with Perrelet. Perrelet has been a brand that has been around just like all the major Swiss brands. So that is a lot of pedigree behind this brand that was started by Abraham Louis Perrelet. And let the arguments rage on between who was the first one to come up with the self-winding watch. Perrelet's claim is that, but that's an entirely different conversation. But definitely Perrelet is in that conversation of who actually is responsible for the first self-winding watch. So this is just a first-rate watch, and as you would expect, they also have their own in-house movement, a really attractive in-house movement. And more recently, even though they have in-house movements, they've actually gone the COSC route. So their movements are actually COSC certified now. They are owned by the Festima Group, so who makes the movements for them, and because they are owned by the same company, they do get credit for being in-house movements because their movements are made specifically for each model. I know that this is their flagship model, and it has that oscillating spinning rotor there, the double rotor there, and that is sort of their claim to fame on this particular model. But surprisingly, this is not the first factor about this watch that really caught my attention. As cool as that is, the first thing that caught my attention is this finishing. This is just an absolutely first-rate job of finishing that we might not expect, or we should expect from a brand that has been around for this long. And not all finishing is created equally. We know that, or my argument is that Grand Seiko's Zaratsu polishing rules all polishings, finishes. And to me, Audemars Piguet's Royal Oaks brushed finishing is the benchmark, in my opinion, for that. It's just a really mouth-watering finish. And I think we can see that with Perrelet's too. Look at the finishing on this. This is actually what caught my attention more than it is that cool double oscillating rotor. And, you know, speaking of the double oscillating rotor, I think one of my hesitations before learning about the watch, before really handling the watch, is would I get dizzy from seeing the constant motion of this dial? And the quick answer is no. I'm happy to report that it is not a dizzying effect, because it is nonstop. Sure, from the motion of our wrist or a little bit of a shake, we can see it's doing its thing, but it stops. So it is not spinning nonstop. And I thought that when I realized that, I thought that is a cool factor to be able to have it stop eventually. So not a factor, and there it is. It just stops. So, but it is something really cool. It is not gimmicky. It just adds a really nice, luxurious feel to this watch. Everything about Perrelet is done properly. I mean, look at the details that you would expect from a brand like this. Look at that side profile of the case with those details on there. On either side of the case, there's a nicely signed crown. And then here's a good shot of the finishing. The angles on that brushed and polished angles, just really well executed. Just a very crispy, clean, legible dial as well. And there again, there's the back of the movement with their custom rotor, a really cool custom rotor. So this is in the red black, but they also have it in blue and gray and a host of other themed elements that we can see between the slots, including a Chinese zodiac theme, which I think is pretty cool that we can see that in between the rotors there. The only spec that I'll start talking about on this is the size. This is 44 millimeters, but it has a very short lug-to-lug case. However, because it does have an integrated strap and an available integrated steel bracelet, the bumps right here, that extends a little bit past the case. That might stand out a little bit more to the wrist, but still very wearable, even on my 6.5-inch wrist. Just look at the beautiful finishing. Just a really gorgeous looking watch here. So, you know, nothing, like I said, is faux about the watch. This is their genuine alligator strap, a really thick alligator strap that is lined in rubber to extend the life of the strap. Just really well done. Nothing is faux, a genuine alligator as you would expect. And then we'll open the bracelet up, and you can see the pattern here on the clasp. Just really lots of details as you would expect. In fact, this is a watch that I could say that and because this is a watch that is actually in retailers, and I want to talk about this clasp a little bit right here. Look at the details on it. Just a well done, beautifully done clasp here. So everything I said is quality. This is a watch that is carried in retailers alongside some of our favorite major brands, because this is a major brand. And even though Perrelet is not the brand that will be the first one that comes out of our mouth when we're talking about luxurious Swiss watches, it is a brand that I think a lot of us in the watch community are aware of, that we've heard of. So when we hear about Perrelet, we might say, oh yeah, Perrelet, I remember them. But I don't think any of us would say, oh, Perrelet, they're junk watches. That's just not the case. This is one of the, I guess you could say, kind of sort of an underrated watch, but certainly a well-respected watch and a very recognized brand within the watch industry. When you hold this watch up to some of the other brands, let's say Omega, Breitling, or even Zenith, this would not be the odd watch out among that group where anybody would say, well, what's this watch doing there? This is no Zenith. This is no Omega. There's just no way. Because when you handle this watch and you see this watch, it just oozes quality. The fact that they also have their in-house movements just lends itself to a lot of credibility in the watch world and alongside any brand. I'm just looking at it, I'm kind of mesmerized, but I wanted to really share just how quality of a watch this is. A brand that has real pedigree, real history behind it, that makes their own movement. So everything about Perrelet can be supported as being a legitimate luxury watch. I believe the retail price on this one is about $4,400 up to $4,600, depending if you want the bracelet. But they also have other themes as well. As I started talking about, this is their limited edition Camo, and I really like this one. This was in the all black edition here. Look at that. Look at this camo band. There is their really nice movement. There's a good look at the movement back there. But again, the details, like including on the clasp, look at the double pin right here, just right along the buckle. Just really, really well done. Everything about Perrelet is just really well done. This is also a lot of details on the side of the case, just like the Turbine EVO. So a slightly different looking case. Let me grab the EVO again. We can see that this is much more of an angular case than the limited edition Camo is. It also has 3 prongs right there for the integrated band versus the 2. So they do have a bit of a different look. I like this Camo, and I haven't always been a fan of Camo, but look at this, just really sporty, really well done. And I think this is also as sporty as it is being Camo, I think would look really great on an evening out to a nice dinner or a cigar or getting drinks at a bar. This would just fit in really well for being Camo, just because it has that luxurious feel. We know that it's a Perrelet. Even if we didn't, we could just tell that this is not your plastic Camo watch that we can find in department stores. This is not a fashion watch. It's just stylishly done. So again, I think that Perrelet is a brand that just deserves attention. They deserve all the recognition that they've been getting, especially as of late. And I've become quite familiar with Perrelet watches. None of them have been disappointing to me. They've just all been really classy, just really well done. And I think you're going to get that when you start to handle the watch physically. You'll be able to tell. Even if these images don't convince you of what a quality watch this Perrelet is, and they should, well, definitely by handling it in person, it will. Look at the case back right here. Look at the details around there. Copious amount of details on this Perrelet here. Just you have to appreciate, you have to respect the details, the level of craftsmanship. Again, I'm going on about the in-house movement, but again, being COSC certified has become a big deal. And in a nutshell, that means the accuracy has to fall within -4 seconds to +6 seconds a day. I've been getting on this one between +2 to 3 seconds a day, so it definitely falls within that. It is consistent. Just a very striking, handsome watch that can be worn in every day. So again, this is just a video to talk about more of a chat or a conversation about Perrelet and why Perrelet is a legitimate Swiss brand. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time. So Perrelet started in 1977, not 1977, 1777. So now let's give this a quick little spin. And I forgot what I was going to say. But it's pretty cool though, and it just mesmerized me. Yep.